great. Will it also let you share your screen?
I don't know. Yeah.
Okay. What if I send you the PowerPoint and you pop it up?
You know how dangerous that is.
I know it is. Stand by.
Are you going to put it in the chat or?
Yeah, I wonder why. Like, I'm not allowed to share either, or
I'm going to email it to you.
It may be, it may be that I was actually set up as being the owner of this somehow, because I did one of them.
I need a new camera. Mine's always so fuzzy.
Yeah, you need your camera is probably like not very many of those, what is it, pixels or whatever the heck it is.
Yeah, it's always like so grainy.
Yeah, so you got like the VCR camera version.
Yeah.
All right, Charlie, I emailed it to you.
Doke.
Thanks.
Bob's got a spooky background.
I'm trying to figure this stuff out. But I want to look at my screen over here, but my camera or laptop's over there. So I'm going to turn it off. It's crazy.
See,
If I can
I
figure out,
like the owl that's blinking though.
if I can figure out how to do that.
I had to restart your laptop, and I think there's some of them you don't.
But look, this guy's got a Halloween background.
Yeah.
My new
No,
laptop.
not mute.
Oops. There
Oh,
we go.
there-
Back to All right. Well, there's no PowerPoint, so I'll just look at my laptop screen, even though you guys are over there a little bit.
We're trying to get the PowerPoint.
Yes. I'm going to have to tell everybody to start at like minute 2.5 or something on the, if they want to watch this.
Let's see if I can do this, because this is always an issue for me.
Now, wait a minute. You guys are going to record this?
Yeah, it's being recorded.
Okay. There we go. That's better.
You don't want to be on with us?
I think, Christy, when you get the recording, you can actually chop the beginning and the, any unnecessary stuff off of the final recording. So you
Oh,
don't
okay.
have to put all of this on.
Did that work to get it up there, or did I mess it up as usual?
We do not see it.
Okay, let's see. All right, I tried entire screen.
I had one meeting where at the end, somehow I guess I didn't finish it and it stayed recording for about 40 minutes because someone stayed connected.
Oh, no.
Yeah, but thankfully
I had the same thing once.
and I chopped it
Yes.
off at the end. So I'm assuming you can do the same at the front, in the front end of it.
It's not
Not
working.
working.
Oh,
We're
that's
having
nice.
a technical night.
Why isn't it coming up?
Did you, when you click on the entire screen, did you click on the tab that you have open with the,
Yeah, maybe it's something I'm not doing on. Because it's not saying share down there.
My share screen isn't even allowed to be shared.
Right.
So
Yeah, mine doesn't seem
mine's
to.
not lit up, but yours is.
okay.
Let me try something. Oops. That didn't work.
It may just be the owner of whoever set up the meeting can do that. One of you guys set it up originally?
We
One of
think
our-
Charlie maybe, right? We
Well, I
hope.
didn't set it up, but let's see.
Yeah, it was set up out of the championship email.
Uh,
But
Oh.
and that's what I clicked in through. So I don't know why it doesn't give me permission.
Yeah, Charlie, it says that you're the owner of the account.
Well, okay, but it's not letting me share.
Okay, well, we'll
Oh.
just, what if we just go through everything kind of verbally? Will definitely send out the PowerPoint, the PDF, and if you guys have any questions, then, just feel free to ask them, and we'll do this pretty,
Mhm.
laid back. Sorry about that, you guys. This is-
That's fine.
Well, if you want to know when the mixed 55 and over national invitation is, it's on March 14th to the 16th, 2025 in Scottsdale, Arizona.
That was a great pick because it's right after or before the BNP Paribas Open, which all my folks want to go to, whether we win this thing or not. So
All right. Well,
That's great.
we did it just for you.
we'll come watch whoever wins this thing.
That's right. I know, and tri-level is the week, it's the 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. And it's actually in San Diego, so tri-level people have a little bit of an option of going to that one too.
Yeah.
Depending on which weekend that it officially is, so that's really good. Okay, so hello, and sorry about the technical difficulties. But this is for the mixed 55 and over section championship, which is this coming weekend, October 27th, 25th, 26th, and 27th. It's at the Seacoast Tennis Club in New Hampshire. Nope, it's not.
No, it's not. It's at Great Bay Athletic Club,
It's
which
at
is
Great Bay.
in the seacoast area of New
Right.
Hampshire.
GB.
My gosh, guys. It's at the Great Bay Tennis Club. Yes, which is on the seacoast of New Hampshire. And Laura's going to be out there hanging out with you guys all weekend, so that will be great. For communications during the championships, when you get there, when you check in, just double check your cell phone number with the staff. We do calls, we do texts, we do in person if we need to chat with you. And that's just, we would just want to double check because sometimes the phone number that you have in TennisLink may not be the same phone number that is the easiest to communicate with you. So just double check your cell phone number when you get there. When you guys check in, what to kind of expect for your first match, just if you'll come in 45 minutes early, come to the tournament desk. Just the captain needs to check in and then just have your players come to you. You'll go to the tournament desk, you'll get your player gifts, you'll get your lineup cards, and that gives you a little bit of leeway time to fill out your lineup cards and kind of, get everybody ready and excited and find a place to sit and watch and all of those things. So if you'll do that 45 minutes before the first match, you don't need to do that, but 45 before the rest of your matches. We just ask that you come in 30 minutes before your other matches. And turn your lineup in, make sure everybody's there ready to play. And that way that we can kind of keep everything on track and keep everything on time. The tournament staff is definitely there to help you, to answer any questions, to help your players if they have any issues on court. So please make sure that you use them. And, make sure that any questions that you have that you definitely ask.
Can I ask how many courts are at this facility?
4
Just 4 courts.
courts. Yep.
Okay.
So we do ask that you have your players ready to go 30 minutes prior to the match time. We try to get people out early if we can, and that also helps keep us on time in case there's a really long match later on. We can kind of keep the flow going. They will need to provide a government issued ID prior to playing. So when we call them up to go onto the court, that's when we ask for ID, not when they first get there. We need to make sure that the person that is written on the lineup card is the same person that is going to play in the match. So that's why we have them show their ID right then. So when you fill out your lineup cards, you're going to write their name on it as it is in TennisLink. So if their name is Rob if their name is Robert in Tennis Link, please don't put Rob or Bob. We need their name as it is in Tennis Link. And then we match that up with the rosters, make sure everybody's eligible to play.
Is that like districts where you just do it once and then you're fine for the rest of the matches, or every single match?
No, we'll just do it once. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then we just want to make sure that everybody is a good sport on the court. We'll tell the players, we always do our speech at the beginning of all the championships before we send everybody out. If they have an issue that takes more than 30 or 45 seconds to handle on the court, please come get one of the staff so that we can help solve the problem. We don't want any screaming, yelling, racket throwing, ball slamming. We don't want to see any of that. We do a 10-minute warm up that doesn't include serves. So we let the players know that. And there's no coaching of any kind, which kind of goes back to if you were on earlier, my pet peeve about talking to the players. And I wasn't talking to them. I was just saying, please don't coach. If they need water, if they need anything at all, if they need to go to the bathroom, they need to do that on their own. They need to come to us and not, signal to the windows or signal to you guys or any of that. So we do ask that they handle themselves without getting anybody involved but tournament staff. After the match is complete, nobody is allowed to sit on court and watch matches. Please reiterate this to your players. Nobody is allowed to sit on the court after their match and watch the other matches. And I emphasize that because we're getting worse. The players are getting worse and worse about that. And then they'll tell me, well, I was just changing my shoes. Well, you put on a shoe and watched 3 points, and then you put on another shoe and watched 2 more games. So they cannot sit on the court and watch. They need to come report their scores. One player from each team needs to initial their scorecard so that we know that the scores are correct and that both of the doubles teams agree that that is the correct score. It helps you when you come back later to sign off on all of the matches on the scorecard. You know that your players have okayed the correct score and that everything is correct. We also need them to return the balls. When all 3 matches are done, we need you to come by, double check again, and sign off on the scorecard. Once that's done, then we can enter it into Tennis Link. We do play, this is the same as we do at the other championships. We're going to play 2 out of 3 regular sets. That's with add scoring. They do play a Komen tiebreak if they split sets, and they play a 7-point Komen tiebreak if they get to 6-all in either set. They do play it out. There's no time limit. So this could be different than some of your local areas, whether they play no ad or they have a specific time limit. These are played out to completion, and we don't keep track of the time on them. So we'll let you, and we say this again in front of to all the players as well, but we just want to make sure that in case for some reason your match format in the local area is different, that they know how they're playing in at the championship.
So just to clarify, it's a 7-point set tiebreak?
It's a 7-point set tiebreak and a 10-point if they split sets.
And you said Komen, do you enforce switching sides after 1 point and then every 4?
Yes.
Even for the 7-point?
Yes, it is still a Komen tiebreak.
Okay.
Okay, so it is a no default championship. That means all lines are played. We expect you to field all the lines for every match. If for some reason an unintended default occurs, then we have to default that line throughout the championship. So say the first round is done, everybody's played all the matches, you're in the second round, somebody gets hurt or doesn't show up and you don't have anybody to replace them, we would default line 3 doubles. You would not be able to play line 3 doubles in the next match, and we would reverse the scores in the previous one. That way nobody has a mathematical advantage in the round robin. So just make sure your teammates know how important it is for everybody to come and be on time or early.
So if someone's 15 minutes late, it screws up the whole tournament? I mean, even if you won a line and it's not your fault, you're going to lose that win
If
because
it's your,
somebody else's team didn't show up.
if somebody else's team doesn't show up, then you automatically get the win.
No, but say the first match we win all three, and then
Mhm.
you know the second match something happens. Third match against the other two teams, their line 3 didn't show up or their line 1 didn't show up. You're going to erase our win on one of those other matches on the line that corresponds to that default.
No. We're if they had won in the first round, it would erase their win.
Oh, just the team that defaults is going to be penalized.
That's correct. Yes, that's correct.
Sorry, I misunderstood.
That is okay.
Except that the score will be changed to 6060.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Just the standings, not for NTRP.
Right.
Oh, that makes sense. Sorry, I totally misunderstood that.
That is that's why we have these. Make sure everybody is good so that there are no surprises.
And the only pushback I got is this 8 o'clock start on Friday morning. How rigid are you guys? Is it a 10-minute default, 15-minute default? I mean, I got some people staying over the night before, but not everybody.
So we go by friend at court, and if we start the clock we would start the clock on somebody at 8. At 8:15, it would be a complete
over.
default. Mhm.
And
Yeah.
and that's okay. Yeah. And then of the 4 courts, only 3 are in use at any one point in time, or as the day goes on, you just jumble everything together and you know, you might start late and get that 4th court in action.
Well, we have the 4th court. So if there was a late match and we needed to start something else, we're going to try to keep everything together so that your team plays together all the time. But if one of the matches does go late that's before you, we'll get one of the other matches started on that last court.
Okay, but the default is let all 3 lines finish for the guys that are out there before the new team takes over.
No, the default is we stay on time. So
As soon as a court opens up, line 1 goes.
there's an hour and 45 minutes between matches. So if the 8 o'clock, we start them, everybody gets started at 8. Whoever comes off. For the 9:45 matches, we will start getting them ready to go out at 9:15 so that they are ready to go and like just waiting. And then once we have open courts, we will start putting people out.
Got it.
Yeah. Okay. I always like to kind of go over medical timeouts. This is an extremely gray area, so please give us a little leeway on this. The medical timeout rules were made for tournaments where there are referees, roving officials, and athletic trainers. So we have none of those things, and our staff are not medical people. So technically, there is a specific amount of time for assessment of an injury, and there's 3 minutes for treatment of an injury. So that time cannot exceed 15 minutes. However, if somebody gets hurt on a court and one of our staff members has to walk down to a court, depending on how long that takes, we're just going to talk to you. We're going to see if they need ice, to see what they need. At that point, our staff member will start a 3-minute timer if they want a medical timeout. It could be less than that 15 minutes total. It could be more, but the timeout itself is 3 minutes from whenever our staff member says the injury timeout starts now. Bleeding is a little bit different because we have to clean up blood. So fortunately, I haven't had to deal with that.
So where
Um,
does the 15 minutes come in?
So the 15 minutes, when you have an athletic trainer, they have no more than 12 minutes to assess an injury. And then the 3 minutes, the 3 minutes starts when they touch them, whether they're doing joint manipulation or retaping a blister or whatever it happens to be. So that 12 minutes, they can sit and talk to them and find out what's going on with them. And then 3 minutes for the total. Since we don't have medical people, we're just going to talk to you and kind of find out what's going on.
So what happens though in a case where they do need the 15 minutes? Are you guys going to allow that?
No, they don't get 15 minutes. They get 3 minutes. The 15, that other 12 minutes is only for time for staff to get down there and see what's going on.
So if they needed a wrap or anything, there's no way that you're going to allow them 15 minutes. Okay.
No, they get 3 minutes. Yep, they get 3 minutes.
Okay. Sounds good.
Medical conditions do include things like cramps. If they have cramps in their left leg and they take an injury timeout, they cannot later take an injury timeout for a medical timeout for cramps in their right leg. Cramps are cramps. But if they roll their ankle, if they need to retape a blister, any of those things, they can take it. So
But you're only giving them 3 minutes, not 15.
that's correct. That other 12 minutes is just time for us to get down there and find out what's going on.
Okay.
Bathroom break, same kind of deal, or is that unlimited? Or if they want to extend it by just saying, I gotta go to the bathroom kind of thing?
Well, so bathroom breaks are a different story because according to Friend at Court, you can take a bathroom break anytime and there's no time limit listed. I would hope that somebody wouldn't use that as gamesmanship to play around with it. And we would try to keep them from doing that. But officially, from the USTA standpoint and national, we cannot tell somebody they cannot go to the bathroom.
Even if it's like on an odd or even set?
They can go anytime they want.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, technically, it could be 10-9 in a 10-point Komen tiebreak, and they could go to the bathroom. I would hope that that doesn't happen. I'm sure that it does, but the USTA regulations and Friend at Court standpoint has always been, we do not tell people when they can and cannot go to the bathroom. So I wanted to go over eligibility to play in this championship. So this isn't officially an invitational, which means that it has a little bit different eligibility requirements for players to play at the section championship and at the national championship. It is run by a tournament director at the national level and not by the championship staff, even though they are involved. So for us, all NTRP types, they have to play 2 matches. One of them can be a default, and they are eligible to come to the section championship. Retired matches count for all NTRP types. So during your local league, if you had a team that was playing and somebody did get hurt and they ended up retiring, that counts as a match played. So retirements do count. For the national championship, it is the National Invitational, it is the exact same eligibility requirement. They have to have 2 matches. One of them can be a default. The section championship can count for those. Your local leagues, they don't have to play in the section championship to go to nationals as long as they have the eligibility from the local league. So it's a lot easier to get players eligible for the national championship for the invitationals than it is for the regular championships like adult 18 and over. For us, during the championship, no courts will be available for practice before or during the championship. So that 4th court is not open to practice. We don't have enough courts for everybody, so we don't let anybody practice. If they want to find public courts somewhere, outdoor courts, more than welcome to do that. Just at Great Bay, we cannot have them practicing the day of the championship. Now, if you guys show up on Thursday and want to rent courts, that's between you and Great Bay. But starting on Friday, there are no open courts for practicing. Bathroom and showers. Laura, do they have showers at Great Bay?
Yes, they do.
And showers are open. Please bring plenty of water and snacks with you. Water and clear liquids only are allowed on court. But just make sure that you come prepared for anything. I'm sure they probably either sell water. I'm sure they have water fountains, but just in case something happens, have everybody bring plenty of water. Okay, so really that's it for what we typically go over. When I send this out, it'll have links to the captain's Facebook page, the online store, the captain and player hub. All those things will be linked into the PDF. But do you have any questions? That was kind of the fast version.
Yeah, hi, this is Leslie Hotera. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, I do have a few questions. I just want to make sure that I have this right. So we're in the 6-0. My team is Serves You Right. And we're the 6-0 mixed. I heard someone say something. I think when I look at the schedule that we only have matches Saturday, one on Saturday at 3 and 2 on Sunday. I think it's 9:45 and 3. Am I right about? Can someone just verify that for me? Because I heard someone say something about Friday. Are you on a different level if
Yeah,
you're
it's
Friday?
7-0.
Yeah, that's a different, we're
7.
7-0.
Okay, so because I heard Friday, I'm like, wait, I didn't think. Am I? Is
Don't
it?
panic.
Yeah. So I had a little panic for a moment. But are you able to tell me? Am I correct about?
Yes, you are
Um,
3, 9:45 and Saturday and Sunday only.
Right, and we're only playing one team.
That's correct.
Really? Okay, I just want to make sure I didn't mess that up. And then I'm going to ask you another question. When I was in a championship, I don't know why it's echoing, I'm sorry. Some years ago, recently, we were playing, and the other opposing team said a couple of things to me. Then just tell me what you think about this. Like, one thing they said to us was, if they're serving and they fault, right? So you hit your first serve, it's a fault. We're not allowed to hit it back. You don't know? I mean, we're not used to that. I think if you serve it, it's a fault. We might bat it back because we were in motion anyway, or because just for tidiness. Is there any kind of rule about that?
There is no rule about that at all. And you're right. Sometimes as the returner, you're not necessarily going to be able to call it. Your partner's going to be the one that calls it. So if you're taking a swing at it, you're not going to be able to stop in motion. So there is no rule against that.
There is no rule against it, but the hindrance rule might apply if it's being done, with the purpose of being disruptive. Because one thing is the situation where the majority of us have, where we're getting ready, the serve is coming in fast, and we return the serve before our partner, at the same time that our partner yells out. That's what the example that Christy was referring to. But if somebody keeps doing that on slow serves just for the purpose of taking the server out of their serving rhythm, then that could be a hindrance. So I think it's one of those things that it's a degree of issues, and as long as or a degree at which something that is allowed becomes disallowed because it's taken to an extreme. So I think as long as you look at it as, let's act reasonably and not do things for the sole purpose of disrupting someone, but we'll be okay. Because I think we've all been in the situation where a fastball comes and you have to return it, and that certainly is not
Right.
an issue.
I've never seen anyone do it for a disruptive purpose in any way. I mean, either I think you're doing it because you're already in motion, or because it's just neat to get the ball back. It just automatic. But anyway, there's no rule. And then
something from the code.
Right.
Obvious faults. Okay. If it's an obvious fault, you should not hit the ball back over the net. But
okay.
So that's basically it. So if a ball's 2 feet out, you don't want to hit it back.
You don't want to hit it back. But there's no rule. There's no rule.
Well, the code
There is.
is part of the rules. So you should not be. So if it's a ball, it's way back, it's an obvious fault, don't hit it. You should not be hitting it back.
Okay.
So
Okay. We never, I just have to say, in our club, we never talked about it ever until I never encountered it until I was at some tournament, but I can talk to the players about that. And the second one they brought up, this was another team, like they're at the service line, they say the score, right? They're serving, it's 40 love, whatever. And I think my partner said, just sort of asked to verify, did you say 40 love? And they said, you can't do that.
That's not true.
And we thought that was also not exactly true. I mean, we didn't know. Have you ever heard of anything like that?
There's nothing in the rules of the code that say that. If you think that the score is incorrect that they're announcing, you should do that.
Exactly.
And is there anything wrong with, like, if you happen to say the score before the servicer or save the score? Like, that was another thing. I never heard of that myself. Not a thing,
A
right?
lot of rules that aren't.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's not a rule either. And by the way, don't touch my scorecard is also not a rule.
Yeah.
Right. So that's another good question. So the
It's a
thing is,
superstition.
if you're playing and it doesn't matter who turns it or which, can you turn the other person's, the other team's score, or
But if you get pushback on it, just let them come and turn
yeah,
their
just
own.
let it go. All right. I'm just some of these things we're not so fussy about these things, but go ahead. Thank you.
One quick question about the facility. What's the viewing waiting area like? People gonna have plenty of place to sit and watch?
Yes. Yep. There is, the courts are straight in a row, 4 in a row. The lobby where we'll be has big giant windows so you can see straight through all 4. There's also an upstairs that has windows that you can see. And considering the fact there's really only one match on at a time,
Yep.
we're not looking at gigantic crowds of people, right? So we're not having, 6 matches going on at a time. We're looking at 3 doubles matches, max of 4. So there's more than enough room. Yep.
Right.
Okay, anything else, you guys?
Oh, I'm sorry. Can I just go? I want to just go back to the default thing you mentioned.
Yeah.
So say, for example, tell me if I got this right. Say, for example, line 2, we win the line 6-0. Then we go to the second match, say the next day, and we default because someone gets hurt or whatever, or they're late. We lose line 2 all the way through, first, second, third, right?
So-
Even though we might have won it the first time.
It would be third doubles. That's what gets defaulted.
Oh, wait, can you explain that again? Go ahead. So if we won, say second doubles, say we won line 2, then the next match comes the next day and we have to default line 2. Oh, but you're saying you don't default line 2.
Right, you default from the bottom up. So if you have a player that gets hurt and isn't going to be there, then you're going to be defaulting third doubles, not second doubles. So just use third doubles as the 6-0 win, 6-0, 6-0 win. And then, so what would happen if you had to default the next day? Then the scores for third doubles of the day before would get reversed for the standings to a 6-0, 6-0 win for your opponent on the first day. For NTRP purposes, the 6-0, 6-0 win would still be in Tennis Link and show in Tennis Link. It would just show that that particular position was, I think we use a DQ if I remember correctly. So if it would just show that was DQ'd. And then that tells Tennis Link to make the score 6-0, 6-0 in favor of the other team.
Okay.
But your players will still get their NTRP.
Oh, okay. In other words, yeah, for their personal rating, they'd still have a win.
Yes.
But in terms of the tournament, we would have lost line 3 all the way across.
Correct.
And Leslie, that only does apply for a default. So if your player goes on the court and gets injured, that's a retirement. A
Okay.
retirement is not a default. So
Okay.
that would still count as a match. The score would go in, it'd be retired.
But that would only be if a point was started.
Right. if a
Okay, so
point was
the
started.
default
So you-
is is if you never started because their car broke down or whatever.
Or if you don't have a replacement and they get injured during the warm up and can't play, then it
Mhm.
would default. But as long as one serve is hit, you know, somebody hits a serve and, you know, and whacks himself on the head with their racket by accident and knocks themselves out, it's a retirement.
Okay, so then just let me take it one step further. If we won line 3 the first day and the second day someone retires, we still keep the win from the first day.
Correct.
Got a- so-
I'm assuming none of this is happening, but
We do too.
got a related question. You have to submit your lineups 30 minutes or some amount of time before the match actually starts. What if, you know, the guy's on his way, he's not quite there yet, I submit my lineup, we've got extra guys hanging around. They call us out, but my guy's stuck in traffic. Can I sub somebody in at that point?
You're not Laura's going to ask you if all your players are there. And if your players are not all there, you be honest and say no. And she's going to say, then hold on to your lineup until your players are all here.
Okay, so that, you know, it won't, not, yeah.
We'll
And did you-
avoid those situations.
that's good. And then I think you said if there's a deciding transition point of actually playing a point versus warming up. If somebody gets hurt during the warm up and I have somebody to replace them, can you sub in at that point?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, and the player that subs in gets a 5-minute warm up minimum. So if it happens, you know, like a minute before they were getting ready to start play, that player still gets 5 minutes to warm up.
Okay. Oh, that's good too. All right. Thank you.
These are all great questions because these are all things that do come up. And we know some other non-USTA leagues do things a little bit different. And so these are all really just kind of nuanced things that are really good for you guys to know. And so continue to ask these questions. That's why we are here. So if there's anything else, please let us know.
As captains, you know how it goes. I got one guy who's a great guy, great player, just not the most reliable guy, and he's always the one screeching in at the last minute or throwing me a curveball. So it's nice to know we've got a few options.
Well, and at a certain point, yeah.
Thank you, Christy. I was just about to say, there is a point, Bob, where I would be asking you straight out, it's time to give me your lineup. I have open courts.
Yeah, I know.
And I can't hold up a whole tournament over and over again for players not there. So at that point, you would have to make a decision. Do you pull that player out and put someone else in and hand me your lineup? Or do you take a chance, put them into third doubles? Since if they're late, third doubles is the only one that can be defaulted. They can't stay in one doubles and be late because I will default them if I have to, and I can't default one doubles. So they have to move to 3.
But believe me,
you
I'm
sub
on your
someone else
side.
in.
I don't think it's going to happen, but yeah.
We'll
it's
have
good
all
to
of
know.
our fingers crossed for you. I don't want to do it either.
But don't tell that guy about your options.
Exactly.
Yep. Yep.
He's not playing the 8 o'clock match. I was smart enough to not put him in the 8 o'clock match.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for doing this. It's very, very helpful.
Very good. Well, I will send out the PDF and I'll see if I can figure out how to cut some of the recording out. And I'll send that out to everybody too. And Charlie, it might come to you because since you're the owner of the.
So, and remember, don't let your players add water to the spectators.
Right.
The other thing too is make sure
Right.
all cell phones are off and smart watches are put on airplane mode because you will lose a point immediately if they ring. And of course you can't answer the phone.
That is correct.
Or
What did you say about the water? Something about water? I missed that comment.
Christie's pet peeve.
What?
Oh, you missed that? Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
I did.
The players on the court can't ask spectators for water. They have to come off the court, and if they don't have, they can go to a bubbler and fill it, or they can come to the desk and say, I need to get some water, and they can, subject to the time limits in between points and sets, they can take care of that. But but no talking with spectators. Pretty much
Okay.
anything.
I know it seems arbitrary and petty, but we literally don't know who's coaching and who's not. So the line has to be drawn with no communication with the players at all. I know this seems extreme, but you could have some signals with your players that if you ask for a whole bottle of water, that means hit it to their backhand. But if you ask for a banana, that means hit it to their forehand. It seems crazy, but crazier things have happened, and we have a no coaching rule. And since we don't have the ability to know any of those things, we just know talking to them at all, they can't talk to you. So doesn't mean you can't cheer. You can definitely cheer for them.
But if you want to know how often this coaching rule comes up, it's in friend of court and it's rule 30. That's how often.
They should just allow it.
Oh my gosh.
Did you say if your phone goes off or your watch, you lose the point?
Mhm.
Yes.
And if it goes off between points, you lose the next point.
And if it goes off between points, you use the next one.
Who
Okay, so
enforces
basically,
that though? I mean, is that really something?
Yeah, the
Yes,
players
it
on
is.
court would enforce that.
So if the other team's watch or phone makes any kind of noise, a text being delivered or a phone ringing, they should just stop the point and say, we win this point?
Hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll
Yeah.
remind everyone.
Now,
yeah.
if you happen to have a player who uses their phone for medical reasons, like we've had a few people who are diabetic and they need it to watch their glucose, please tell your tournament staff. They don't have to reveal the medical issue, like we're not getting involved in any of that. But if they need to look at their phone to check their blood sugar, then that way we know they're not using it for other reasons. Please have that player take one of the tournament staff aside and just talk to us about it.
but people can look at their watch and check their heart rate, right? I mean, because I'm going to put it in tennis mode and it's going to give me all the data. I look at my heart rate when it's, even if that's allowed, isn't it?
It needs to go to airplane mode.
Right.
Right, but I mean, airplane, it won't make any sound,
Correct.
but you can glance at your watch, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Are you saying like you
Um,
can't even read a text, like, because it might be a coaching thing
That's
coming
correct.
in from you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's correct for sure.
Oh, so don't anybody go into their phone, even if it's silent, and then like check in their messages. That's a no-no.
That's correct.
But
Yeah.
but if you have your watch on your wrist when you're playing, and you've got your tennis mode on, I mean, I look at my watch while I'm playing. Is it right?
If it's in airplane mode, you won't get texts or phone calls.
Right.
Wow, this is kind of a higher level than I thought. That was mostly fun.
I didn't know there was an airplane mode on the watch. I'm gonna have to look that up.
I'm gonna have to get a watch like this.
It might be do not disturb on your watch.
I
Well,
think,
I
isn't it?
see it's silent mode.
Well, if you put your phone on airplane mode,
Yeah.
then
okay.
you
Watch
won't
won't
get
work.
the watch won't get texts.
Although secretly, I do give kudos to anybody that's 55 and over and that could actually read a text on their watch.
I was gonna
Yeah,
say
right.
the same thing. With my contacts in, there's no hope of me reading
Yeah.
anything.
I can really tell I've got a watch on.
I'd have to
That
put
was
my
good.
reading glasses on.
It's right.
I can't even read a text on my phone.
No. Well, you guys are going to have a great time this weekend. I think the weather is supposed to be spectacular. How
Mhm.
are the leaves up there, Laura?
By the seacoast, it shouldn't be too bad. They should be peak, maybe a tiny bit past. By me, they're past. Everything's turning brown. I'm a little bit further north,
Okay,
but it should be very pretty
very
so-
good, very good.
and right near the ocean. So make some plans to take your time and visit one of the wonderful restaurants.
Sure.
How do you think we're coming from Connecticut and it's 2 hours and 40 minutes, but I mean, that area up there, can it get like the traffic getting stalled kind of thing, or is it not usually like that?
95 can be, but depends on what time of day you're coming up. What time on
Mhm.
Friday, Leslie? Or you're Saturday, right?
We're Saturday.
You're
Our first match
Saturday.
is at 3. I was asking my team to arrive at 2, an hour in advance, but actually I think I'm going to ask them to come even earlier.
Yeah, if
You
you
never
use
know.
Waze or anything, Waze is a great app that actually takes into account accidents. It takes into account traffic jams. It will
Right.
reroute you if there's an accident and tell you to get off exit blank and go back roads to get back on the highway around the accident. Works really
Mhm.
well.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Yep.
Maybe
Yeah,
I'll,
but it
used to
probably
use it.
will take you a tiny bit longer because there are still leaf peepers.
yeah, someone just said that to me too.
Yep.
Yeah, I would plan that it's going to take you longer. I used to live in New Hampshire.
Mhm. Okay. All right.
Look forward to seeing you all and meeting you all this weekend.
Same here.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
All right. Take
Thank
care.
you.
Good night.
Thank
Great
you.
night.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, buddy.
Bye.
See you.